Well, if my last point about using the king aggressively in the endgame was an important one, the next idea is equally important, and that is that you must not rush the endgame. Jumping to conclusions, making hasty decisions, speeding up as the endgame approaches, these are all the hallmarks of an incorrect attitude to this phase of the game. As the endgame comes upon us, we must slow down if we have time. Consider this position. It's white to play and draw. Give it some careful thought, and I am sure you will be able to solve this. Rush it, and you have no chance. Now, it's only king and 2 pawns each, but I assure you, it's more difficult than it looks. Now, as with all exercises on this DVD, to get the most out of them, what I'd like you to do is to pause the DVD at this point, set this position up on your board at home, and try to solve it, only referring to my solution a little later on. If you're feeling lazy, obviously you can listen to the solution now, but you won't get as much out of it. So, white to play and draw. It's a study by Grigoryev. Well, the first moves of this study are fairly straightforward, because white's got to deal with black's passed pawn on A3. That pawn's threatening to queen, so white must bring his king across to stop it. Black attacks the pawn on A4, white defends it, and now black tries to decoy the white king out of the way by playing A2. This is all standard stuff. But white's next move is pretty difficult to find. King to B2. I wonder if you've got that idea. The point is that after king takes A2, black plays king takes A4. And if king B2, we go king B4, and if king C2, we go king takes C4. In this variation, black has the opposition on white. And now I think white loses however he plays. If he plays king D1, we play king D3, and this is just a standard winning pawn endgame. As after king E1, black plays the crucial move, king C2, escorting the pawn home. So going back to the game, king B2 is the good move, and now white is hoping here for king takes A4. Well, he can play another brilliant move here, C5. That's a lovely move, dragging the pawn forward, so that now after king takes A2, king B4, king B2, king C4, king C2, black can't make any progress. Of course, if it's black to move, if it's white to move in this position, black wins, but unfortunately it's black to move. So what we get now is another standard draw where white just draws this by retreating his king to the middle. Black can't really make progress as long as white defends properly. The position's been repeated one rank further up. King back to the centre, take the opposition, and now the game ends as stalemate. So going back to the position after king B2, black tries a trick with king B4, hoping to transpose back into earlier winning variations. But now white has to play yet another brilliant move here, king A1. This position is all about the opposition, gaining the opposition at the right moment. And if king takes C4 in this position, we go king takes A2, king B4, king B2, king takes A4, king C3, king B5, king D4, and now this position is bound to end in a draw. Just for sake of completion, I'll show you how it happens. We take the opposition, and then we get back into this drawing mechanism I mentioned earlier, where you have to put your king back to the middle, and then we just play this out very, very quickly. King back to the centre, take the opposition, very nice and easy. King back to the centre, and there we are, stalemate again. So that's a typical endgame where I'm sure over the board, many players would misplay it. Some subtlety was needed, but I'm sure you've got the answer at home because you gave it careful thought. And that is the main point of this section of the DVD. Slow down, if you can, in the endgame.